Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to have all of you together in this Zoom meeting. I'm Maylanie, a food technology student from Venus University, and I'd like to present a research entitled Nutritional Status and Habits Among People on Vegan, Lacto or Ovo-Vegetarian, Pescatarian, and Traditional Diets. I'm going to bring up topics about nutritional status on as World Health Organization has reported that humans' lifestyle these days have affected the factors of premature deaths. The society's lifestyle that must be worn are relevant to their habits, especially in food intakes, which have been identified as one of today's significant health challenges. After several researches, reports stated that vegetarian diets can help in beneficial effects in health. It shows that people who had undergo the vegetarian diet has lower risk of cardiovascular disease, obesity, hypertension, and even cancer. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about more about vegetarian, their types, along with their nutritional status. Firstly, what is vegetarian? Vegetarian has the definition of eliminating all types of meat products and consuming only plant products. In this research, we are going to compare the types of diets, which includes the vegetarian diet, vegan diet, pescatarian diet, and omnivore diet. Based on the table, we can see that the type of food allowed and restricted for vegetarian diets. Starting with vegetarians, all vegetarians are allowed to eat plant products, but they are not allowed to eat any type of fish or seafood, and meats. But for dairy products, only lacto and lacto-ovo vegetarian are allowed. As well as eggs, only ovo and lacto-ovo vegetarian are allowed. Pescatarians are allowed to consume plant and dairy products, eggs, fish, and seafoods, but they are not allowed to eat any type of meat, including the poultry meat. And lastly, vegan, where they are only allowed to consume plant-based products. Meanwhile, omnivore is not included in the table as it is not a type of vegetarian-based diet. Omnivore diet is the type of diet that consumes both plants and animal products. First of all, here are some materials and methods that will be needed. First, we did some recruitment for participants. Participants will be given several questions in both offline and online manner about their type of diet and their eating habit. Next, we did some qualifications to recruit the participants that are accurate to the certain criterions. Recruited participants will undergo body composition analyzing for further qualifications. After analyzing, participants will be asked to undergo some lifestyle habits. Due to the criterions, some participants were unable to join as they don't match or agree with the standards. After calculating their body composition, they are given questionnaires about their diet and behavioral factors. They are given questions based on their frequency of consumption of food products. These questions are based on the food frequency questionnaire. This will help the formation of diet history checklist based on how often they ate a certain type of food over a certain period. Finally, the participants gained from the final round is presented here. For vegan group, 17 male and 36 female has joined. 4 males have joined vegetarian and pescatarian groups, but 48 females has joined the vegetarian group and 24 females joined the pescatarian groups. And lastly, 16 males and 27 females has joined the omnivore group. The methods for observation include the body composition analysis, which will be done using the InBody 120 analyzer from South Korea. Then they will be given questionnaires about their diet and behavioral factors, as well as their dietary intake, which will be based on the food frequency consumption. And lastly, from all the questionnaire and analyzing, their answers will be calculated using the statistical analysis using the one-way ANOVA, DSCF post-hoc test, Spearman method, and Mann-Whitney-U test. Here are the results and discussion from the observations done. Firstly, the group's frequency of consumption of particular products. We can see from the table that omnivore and pescatarian group has opposite results, while the omnivore in high frequency is consumed by the pescatarian in the low frequency. Same goes with the vegetarian and vegan, where they are actually similar in their type of diet, but their frequency of product consumption also showed opposite results. What the vegetarian has consumed in low frequency has been consumed in a high frequency by the vegan group. Now we will compare their nutritional conditions. First is their behavioral factors, which includes their sleeping duration, smoking habit, and some physical activity. This shows that the pescatarian group has smoked cigarette higher on average than the other. Omnivore group has showed the highest alcohol consumption, while vegan and vegetarian show the lowest activity. And in the body mass, vegetarian group has the least possibility of being overweight, but they're the highest percentage of being underweight. They also observe the composition of their body fat mass and percentage, which result in the concerning level of body fat mass and percentage in pescatarians and omnivore. This body mass result have been affected by their frequency of food consumption. Even though vegetarian and vegan lack of consuming protein, they still consume sources of plant protein such as tofu tempeh, nuts, and seeds. This type of proteins also give them calcium. And from the conditions, omnivore group has showed the most abnormalities concerning the food group consumed in relation to the other group by the consume of alcoholic beverages, sweets, and desserts. Meanwhile, vegan and vegetarian group shows the higher value of mineral and muscle tissues. This also make them less concerned about problems related to their body shape, including their weight. Finally, we have come to the last chapter where I will be giving my conclusions. From the presentation above, I can conclude that vegans not only have a distinctive eating style, but also have a behavioral pattern that go beyond the expectations of a healthy diet. In addition to avoid meat eating, they also want people to engage in actions that are good for their health and environment overall. And even though people who went through omnivore diet also shows positive results, it showed that following the vegetarian diet have a better and more promising health conditions for the future. Here is the reference I used for my presentation, and perhaps if there are some questions or topics you would like to discuss with me, here I attach my email. Thank you for participating in my presentation. Have a nice day.